If you're somebody who is a GCSE student and you're really struggling with history but you still want to get that 9, you're in the right video because today I'll be sharing with you all top 10 tips on how to really get that 9 in a GCSE history exam. If you're interested to find out the tips, then please keep watching this video till the end. So these 10 tips are based on 3 things that I've combined together. First one is of course based on my own personal experience and the mistakes that I have committed when I was doing my own GCSEs. Number 2 is based on my own sisters, teachers, comments and advices on how to really get that 9 in this particular subject. And number 3 is of course based on research, so internet free resources, for example YouTube videos, and I've watched a lot of them to actually make sure that all the tips that I've gathered here are actually correct and have been put together in this one video so that you don't have to watch any other videos in a way. So yeah, hopefully you will enjoy this video and you will find some of these tips really helpful, and let's start. So before I move on to the advanced tips, I want to share with you all the 4 basic tips which you should be already following them in part of your revision sessions. First one is making sure that you're looking at the mark scheme, the teacher's comments, as well as the examiner's reports to exactly know how to answer your questions in a manner that will get you that 9, as well as knowing what the teachers are looking for in terms of what points you should be writing in your answers whenever you're in the exam. Number 2 is making sure that you are practicing as many past papers as possible. Number 3 is making sure that you are looking at the free resources available on the internet, for example YouTube videos, online courses, or flashcards such as Quizlet or whatever that might be. You should be using those free resources as part of your revision session as well. Number 4 is making sure that you're sending as much as work as possible to your teachers through email or by beating them up in school time, like for example lunchtime or after school, to make sure that you can show your work as well to them that you may have completed at your own house independently. So let's first start now with the advanced tips. The first one is making sure that you're creating timelines that have all the dates that are very important for you to really remember for exam. So you want to make this color coded and as nicely drawn, or even a mind map as well, to make sure that you know all the dates that are very important for you to remember in the exam, so that whenever you're writing about an event or you want to summarize a point or you want to make a point in general, you would know which date it was or which date the event happened, so that you know exactly what you're talking about. In that way the examiners know which event you're talking about exactly, and in that way you will boost your marks as well, because you will show to the examiner that you know what you're talking about and you know your content very well. So you want to make sure that you're creating timelines of all important dates in the history, and in that way you will remember the dates and also it will boost your marks. Number 2 is making sure that you have your topics list and see which topics you're finding it very difficult and start working on them right now, because you want to make sure you're giving yourself enough time to really understand those topics, especially if they're really difficult to understand or they have a lot of topics or events going on in the event, in the actual topic itself. So you want to make sure, and especially if there are a lot of dates as well, so you want to make sure that you're taking your time and actually focusing on these topics, as well as also making time for the ones that you already know really well, because you want to keep it a balance of both topics that you know and you don't know, and you want to merge them together until you know both sides really well and confidently in the exam. So you want to make sure that you're focusing on the topics that you are finding it very weak and starting on working on them right now from today onwards. Number 3 is making sure that you're using as many active recall strategies as much as possible, especially when you're trying to remember different kinds of events and dates in history. So you want to make sure that you're using different kinds of revision methods, for example flashcards, mind maps, brain dump, spaced repetition, or any other kind of things that you can think of. Also Feynman technique is a really good one as well for history. So you want to make sure that you're implementing as many active recall strategies and you're making time for each of these type of revision strategies, so that it becomes really natural for you to really remember the information and you will be able to write the answers really well in the exam, because you have used many different resources and ways to actually remember that information, as opposed to just reading it off from the textbook and making notes. So use as many active recall strategies for the better of your answers. Number 4 is making sure that you're using your command words really well and know how to structure your answers according to those command words, as well as having pre-planned answers or model answers that you actually want to make sure that you're focusing on them and mastering them, so that whenever you're in the exam you know exactly what you want to talk about and what the structure is going to look like. So tip number 4 is basically summarizing it, is the fact that you have to have pre-planned model answers of essay questions, especially in history, and also know your command words and what they're looking for in terms of how to answer the question and how to structure it, so that the examiners know that you have done your work and you have practiced a lot of past papers, so that they will have no other choice but to actually give you a lot of marks. So you want to make sure that you're focusing on these 2 areas from today onwards. Tip number 5 is making sure that you're reading around the subject, and although this might be an A-level tip almost, I believe that if you're a GCSE student and you're someone who actually wants to stand out whenever you're answering the questions in the exam and you want to write any points or evidence that no other students might have written before, I think this is a really good tip because you just use any kind of free resources available online such as YouTube videos and watch some kind of historic documentaries or anything like that. So whatever you have found information based on those, you can write them in your answers. In that way it will make you stand out, because let's be honest, examiners are looking at over 200, 500, 1000 students over and over again, and the answers, if they're all the same and no one actually stands out, that can actually boost your marks as well, because they will find your answers very interesting and unique and original. So you want to make sure that you're reading around the subject to boost your marks. Tip number 6 is probably the most important one, that is to create booklets or summary sheets of all the topics that are very consolidated and organized sets of notes. You want to make sure this is very organized and you have taken a lot from information from a lot of resources, for example, textbook, your school notes, your internet notes, or whatever that might be, whatever you have found. You want to make sure that you're putting all together in one sheet of paper or one A4 paper. In that way, this information has been consolidated into one sheet of paper so that you can actually use it very well as almost like a cheat sheet just around the exam season. Whenever everyone will be stressed, you will have just one sheet of paper that you have all the information that you have to rely on and you can practice on. In that way you will know the information better, and it also make you feel really confident as well that you have done so much work and now in the exam season you're stress-free almost. So you want to make sure that you're creating as many booklets as possible or summary sheets to make sure that the information or historic information is done, put together really well and organized. This brings me to the end of today's video. I hope you really enjoyed and found this video really helpful for you for your GCSE history exam, which is coming out really soon. And I know that some of us find it very difficult to really grasp all the information that is available or that you have to actually revise for GCSE history exam, but I'm here to tell you that you can actually do it, and all these 10 tips will hopefully really help you. And of course, if you have found any of these tips helpful and you know somebody who might be undertaking their history exam this year or next year, then please share this video with them, as well as like this video and share this video with others, and also subscribe to this YouTube channel because I upload GCSE related content for the whole entire month of April and May, so that you might be finding it very helpful and you want to be notified first. Then please do subscribe to this YouTube channel and also click the bell icon. Otherwise, I will see you in my next week's video.